Okay, in this video we're going to talk a little bit about 3D CAD modelling. I'm looking at the different modelling approaches you can take and just to discuss the difference between top-down modelling and bottom-up modelling. If we look at this CAD component here in the top right hand corner, what we've got is a component which is cylindrical in shape with a range of different diameters. And as I say, there are always several ways to go about producing this on CAD software. So if we look at option 1 down the bottom left, a lot of work has went into creating the 2D blue profile. It is a series of dimensions on there that have to be applied to get the profile to the exact shape that we want. Then it's as simple as using the CAD feature revolve, and that's revolving around the center axis to create the 3D CAD model. As I say, there are other ways to create this. If we look at option 2, you would have to create a series of 2D sketch profiles. These would be circles, and then you're using the extrude feature. Obviously this takes a number of steps to produce it in this manner. If we look at the final option, option 3, what we're doing here is we're thinking about commercial manufacture. We're thinking about how this CAD model might be actually manufactured on a lathe or some sort of CNC machine. So we're starting out with a 3D billet of material, which would basically be a cylinder, and then we're thinking about subtracting the material. It could be extrude subtracted, or in this example it would be some sort of revolve subtract to remove the material from the original billet. So as I say, there are several ways to go about doing that. If we look at top-down modelling, what we've got here is we're making components within an assembly. So what you've got is a single project file and all the components are made within it. The good thing about this is your components are created in context, and what I mean by that is you already have existing parts within the assembly and you're creating these components based on these existing parts. What you can then do is you can then use specific details and dimensions which can be referenced from the components that are already within the assembly. Any sort of changes to dimensions will automatically be adjusted with any reference parts within the assembly. It's therefore very easy to see the impact of any changes that you might make to a component and how that will alter the overall assembly. If we look at bottom-up modelling, which is what we particularly focus on within school, what we're really talking about is making individual components. They are all independent of each other. They are independently referenced as individual files, and when we go about creating assemblies, we're bringing all these individual files together and we are assembling them. Obviously, as we alter individual parts, it won't make an automatic adjustment of the final assembly. The one good thing is that each of these individual components can then be used across a range of assembly projects, and obviously by adjusting them you have to go in and then adjust these assembly projects to make sure that everything is assembled correctly. And that in a nutshell is 3D CAD modelling, talking about how there's always different ways to go about doing it and the difference between the top-down and bottom-up modelling.